Tonight, our coverage continues. We've got lots more to tell you about what's been happening in other parts of the country. But we also have a conversation here on The Explainer tonight. My guests, Mercy Tarus, who's the founder of Kenyan Home Initiative, Kasmuel Mcoure, who's a revolutionary artist, Wanjiru, who's an activist as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on The Explainer tonight. A quick one, Mercy, I'll start with you. The protest started off with rejecting the finance bill. That happened, and then it was about cabinet. President conceded again. So some are asking, why the protests continuing? What do you want from the protests right now?
Thank you so much for hosting us. Right now, what we are saying, what everyone else is saying is the government is speaking a different language than the language they used to campaign for. So right now, the things, as they rule, they are speaking a very different language. They promised that there would be no extrajudicial killings. We have witnessed extrajudicial killings. We have seen on the social media, we have seen on mainstream media, people being shot at using live bullets, people being shot at using tear gas canisters directly. And so we have lost lives. We are asking for accountability. We have not seen anyone being arrested or arraigned in court for the lives that we have lost. There is so much incompetence. They appointed CSS, and now they were fired because of the incompetence that they had. But that is not the only problem. We have PSs, we have parastatal heads that are still very incompetent. And so if you fired on incompetence, then that means that you hired on incompetence. And the people that were hired on incompetence also hired other people on incompetence. Okay. And so the problem does not stop there. It is not a one-man problem.
Okay, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. Wanjiru, what's this about now?
I want to agree with Mercy that, first of all, let me send my very sincere condolences to the families that have lost their loved ones during this process of asserting our sovereignty as the Kenyan people, because this is what it's been about. It's been taking back our country and taking it on the right trajectory, because the ruling elites are completely out of touch with the lived realities of many Kenyans. We have lost lives unnecessarily. Mothers are burying their children, and then it's not like we are still being heard. The CS positions were unconstitutional in the first place, so it's not like the president was actually doing us a favor. If we remember the very first time the CS positions, there was an uproar that why is this happening? So, and then it has not been gazetted, which makes it very official. So we are asking, is it really, did we really win on the finance bill? Because we also saw that the levy has been implemented. The price has gone up from 18 shillings to 25, which was, again, on the finance bill that we were rejecting. So this is about now fighting bad governance, which has been ailing our country for the last couple of years. And I think also standing with the families that have lost their loved ones and saying, you cannot kill us and lead us. You cannot kill us and lead us.
Okay, thanks, Wanjiru. Kasmuel, what do you want?
In no uncertain terms, the protests have gotten to the point where we have to make it absolutely clear that Ruto must go. And I know this sounds like a radical stance, but he has shown nothing but gross disregard for the Constitution, nothing but spite for human lives. And it's gotten to the point where the arm of the government, which is the executive, has shown nothing but disregard for the lives of the youth. We would love, first of all, to condole with the people who've lost lives today. And this is a rethinking, it's an overhaul of the entire system. And we cannot do this by appealing to the morality of the people who oppress us. Nobody who was ever oppressed ever won their freedom that way. We have tried to do these things peacefully, but they've done nothing but allay our fears by infantilizing us. They've made us children, and they've regarded us as much. And now what we are on the streets to demand is, when we say Ruto must go, it is a very clear clarion call that we will not tolerate this system. This system did not work for our parents, it did not work for our elder siblings, and it most definitely will not work for us. That is why we are on the streets. We are on the streets to overhaul the entire system. Let that not be mistaken for anarchy, because the only people who are comparing this to anarchy, a state of anarchy, are the political class. Okay. It has not been our fellow people. All right,
interesting, and we will talk a little bit more about that and take the conversation forward. Bad governance, promises that were not made, Ruto must go. Also the question is, if he does go, then what? Have you seen this through or thought it through beyond that? We'll come back and talk a lot more about that. And remember, this conversation that will be happening here on Citizen Television will also be taking place on our X Spaces. You can follow our handle. That is coming up after the break. And we'll also give you a chance watching and following on X to contribute to this conversation. So look out for it on X Spaces as well. I want us to take a break, but not before updating you on some news just in. Many of you may have felt this around the country. An earth tremor has been felt in various parts, actually, of Nairobi County and its environs. And this was experienced by some Nairobi residents at around 8:30 p.m. We're continuing to get more details as to the magnitude of the quake, but it was experienced sometime between 8:30 and 8:40 in parts of Nairobi County. We'll continue to update you on that. Plus, the day of protest today and our conversation here on What Next on The Explainer. We take a break. Back in a moment.